Hey guys, welcome back to the Motor Adventurer YouTube channel. This video is going to be a bit of a garage session looking at the rear suspension of the Himalayan. So just from recent experience, I feel like the back end of this bike is a little bit too soft, especially when I've had some weight on it. I rode up to the ABR festival with metal panniers full on the back as well as my weight, and did a little bit of off-road green lane in sections on the way up there. And I noticed that the back end was just a little bit too soft. And the front ride height just felt a little bit low. So I've bought a new shock and I've bought some extenders for the front forks as well. Decided not to touch the internals of those just at the minute, but I feel like if I change the shock, raise the front end up a little bit, then it's going to make a massive difference. The intention is to get the shock fitted prior to my trip to France in September. I'm going to probably have to get it done over a few sessions just because time-wise, commitments, work and things like that, family, mean that sometimes being able to do this in all these sort of things in a one-er is not really an option for me. So the intention is that I film the process and then this video hopefully acts as a bit of an instructional video for anyone else that's either thinking about doing it or is in the process of doing it. I've got the workshop manual, so I have to reference that as I go through. I think there's a fair few bits that need to come out in order to get the shock out. I think the front end seems fairly simple to do, but we'll give it a go. We'll work our way through it and see what happens. So let's have a look at the shock and then we'll talk about getting the shock fit to the bike. So we've gone with a Hagon Shock. It's a UK company and must say pretty impressed with the service. Initially when I looked on the website, the specific shock that I've got here said that it would only fit a 2017-2018 model. Gave them a call and they quite quickly said it was just an error on their website and they'd get it updated and that it would in fact fit the 2023 model. So it should go from 2017 I think all the way to 2023, whatever the earliest one is on their website, to the most current old model of the Himalayan, which is the 2023. So it's very well packaged, comes with all the bits you need, the relevant documents, and in here is the shock itself. Again, as I say, it's very well packaged. Postage was really quick, but this is what we're looking at. It looks nice and shiny. They do give you the option when you go on the website to put in your rider weight and what you're going to be carrying, if you're going to be carrying a pillion, potentially what sort of riding you'll be doing, so they can try and set it up as best as they can for you straight out the box. So I don't think it's going to stay clean for long, but it looks nice to begin with. So let's take a look at the bike. I'm going to have to move the bike out. It's going to have to stay static for a little while whilst I get this done, but I need to be able to work around it to get all of the bits out that need to come out. So I'll move the bike and then we'll look at what we need to do to get this in. So looking at the manual, first things first, we need to get the airbox out in order to get to the bolt at the top of the shock. So that's going to be a seat removal, and then the manual shows that we can get the airbox out, I think, by dropping it down and backwards. So we'll look to give that a go. So looking at the manual, there's two bolts sort of at the bottom, just underneath the I guess where the airbox is, that say that they need to come out. I don't know exactly where the other end of those bolts go. I can't see it. It might be this is the top of the airbox. It might be that they go underneath there. So just going to take the side off here just so I can get a bit of a better view at the airbox and just see if there's anything that that can be taken out from there. I think this might be a bit of a trial and error process, to be honest. I don't need to do that one. Bit of a trial and error process, to be honest, because whilst the manual has images, it's not the best manual. I've worked with the CRF 250 Rally manual before and that was significantly better and easier to understand, so I think we'll just see how we get on. Okay, so there's two bolts here. There's one just in here, and there's one just on the other side in there as well. Now by taking off that cover, it's pretty difficult to see, but there's almost like a it's like a metal sort of crossbar just at the bottom here. If I can maybe put magnetic torch, there we go. And then the crossbar is literally this thing just here. Now it looks like the top of those, or the bolt that actually goes through from under here sits in that crossbar, so I think I should just be able to loosen it off fairly easily without any problems. So let's give it a go. So the book says it's a 10mm socket, so let's give it a go. For the longer extension, I just made it a bit easier. Tell you what, there we go. That's like, there's two out. Okay, so I don't know if we can see this. It's almost a bit like a reverse kind of bolt. It's not a common one for me. But yeah, that's why that was easy to get out, a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, which is good. Right, so what we were just looking at a second ago was the mud guard. I've taken the bolts out at the bottom, and there's two at the top here. So once those two are out, that whole bit of plastic will come out, which is where the airbox will then, I assume, drop out of. So let's get these two removed. In fact, that one needs to go under the bottom. And then I need to put a spanner in on the top. Again, I probably could have done with getting the longer extension. There we go. Feels like there was a small washer there. Okay, so there is that mud guard now that has been removed from the bike. So I just need to work out what's connected to what and see if I can just pull that straight out and go from there. So bits that needed to be disconnected. So this bit was attached to the mud guard, the inside of the mud guard, and then this bit here has been attached on these two prongs coming out here, so that just needs to be moved off. From what I can see, these hoses have been taken out their little holders here, and then this sort of supporty strut bar here, there's a bolt here this end, and then there's two bolts at this end that need to come out. Once you've taken those two out, I don't know if you can see them, the two bolts this end, 1 and 2, once they're out, this support bar here should drop down. What I don't know is whether I need to remove any of this stuff at the minute, so I'm hoping not, but I'll probably have to, so we'll see. Right, so let's start by taking the first bolt out. It's one of those jobs where you read the manual and you look at it and you think there's a lot of stuff that needs to come out just to access essentially the bolt that holds the shock in at the top. And you try and cut corners, but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, so we'll give it a go and see how we go. There we go. So this bolt seems to be holding on some sort of support for something, so we'll see what happens when you take that out. That is connected to whatever this is here, so that should just dangle, which is fine. Right, so that's worked loose. That support bar is out, or dangling rather. So with that support bar out now, it makes it sound as if, the manual makes it sound as if this bit should just fall straight out, really. The airbox should just fall out, but looking at it, that looks like there's a, oh, that's a drain hose. It feels like it's connected somewhere on the right hand side over here, so I've got a feeling I'm going to have to take the other panel off and look at where the battery is, because I feel like that's going to be connected to it. So it looks like it might be a battery out job. Like, the battery did need to come out, so the two terminals here, then there's the cover, there's 3 screws. So there's only 3 screws that need to come out, because one of these is like a little push fit fitting. Then there's this clamp here secured by that bolt, it needs to come out, and then you need to wiggle the battery out, which is probably easier said than done, to be honest. So the battery compartment needs to come out. There's a bolt there which has probably got something to do with the reason why it's not coming out, and there's another one just there at the back as well. So I suspect once those 2 are out, that airbox should drop out, hopefully, so we'll give it a go. So that bolt there at the back's come out, and the bolt just there has also come out, and it's now free. However, it looks like the cap here is just rubbing against the frame, so the sort of the cover for the actual air filter is probably going to need to come off as well, so we'll do that now. We're in a bit of a, well, it's a bit stuck at the minute because there's stuff over here. There's this wiring loom that's kind of right in the way, it's getting caught. This has obviously come out as it should do. There's a loose cable tie there, which is always great, and this hose is obviously still attached. However, what I have just noticed is, you can see it on camera, the magic bolt for the shock is there, and it looks like it's free from the other side as well. If we just have a quick look, it looks like it's free. You can see it on camera. So rather than faffing around trying to get this airbox out anymore, I'm wondering whether I can just sort of fashion a way to keep it up and out of the way so I can get access to that bolt, because that looks a bit too briefy. So I think I'm going to leave it there for now, and then I will look at coming back to this and picking it up maybe tomorrow and seeing if I can't get that top bolt out for the shock. So, quick update, as I don't like leaving things in a bit of a half-assed state, I decided to move this wiring loom out a little bit more. I've kind of just forced it. It wasn't, I thought it was connected, but it wasn't. So moved it out a little bit more, and I've got this back. There's one last thing that's attached, which is just down the bottom here. I think I showed it to you already. There was a hose, so I've just released the clip from that, and I'm just trying to force it off because it's a bit stiff on there. Once that's off, which that now is, I'm hoping, he says, that it should slide out. just got to be mindful of the fact that I've got to get this back in, which is making me a bit nervous. In fact, I'm not going to move it any further than there, because if I take this off of here, the shock is meant to come out the top. Now that is plenty of space to get the shock out the top and the new one into the bottom. So that airbox is going to stay there. I'm a little bit worried about that going back in because of all these cables and stuff. It needs to obviously go back exactly how it was. So I don't want to get myself out of my depth too much. So we're going to leave it as that. And the next step will be to loosen off the shock and take it out, I guess, and then put the new one in and the rebuild. So that is, I'm going to stop now. That is going to be tomorrow's job, or some of it's going to be tomorrow's job. So we'll come back and see how we get on there.